Um,
Third time's a charm, though.
I was saying to Slaughter, well, we're just getting back into the rhythm of things going well again.
Getting a jump, yes.
And then that fucking happens. You're just like, fuck.
Last week was excellent. Absolutely phenomenal. I have a question for you to kick off, or unless you want to start back off like usual.
No. Go for it.
So let's just say hypothetically, not hypothetical because it happens. Actually, a gentleman I speak to, he came over from your group, and that's what brings it to me. But say you have a business owner. They've had the site up for probably 6 months. They have the GBP, but all the winners have been there for a decade plus, right? You don't start seeing players that have had a website up for a year or 2 years until like position number 7, position number 8, right? But there's other cities, there's other locations. When you see this, how do you generally handle a client when that happens? What do you tell them straight out? Do you say, hey, let's make a run at it anyway? What would you do? Would you be super upfront? How do you handle that? I'm curious.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm right by any stretch, but I am normally super upfront. To be honest, I that probably costs me as a result. But if I believe something's not beneficial or not the best course of action, I'm going to be upfront about it. And I would say to the person, like, I would do something else. You don't want to just say no or this is shit or whatever, not offer a solution. But
well, that's the real question. Well, then where do you take them?
Where do you go from there? What would I do if it was my business is what I always try and think about. And, if you can't answer the way that someone wants it to be answered, I get it. Sometimes some people will say, no, I've still got to make money or whatever, but that doesn't sit well with me. I would rather say to someone, like, dude, this is a scenario. You might not like this answer, but this is the solution to the problem. This is how I would attack this. And it is what it is. But that's just a personal one for me. Like, I'm not saying that's the right answer for everyone.
And if they insist on the work, even after saying, hey, your probability of success organically is very, very low. The outcome is probably not going to happen for years down the road. Would you still do the job for them and be like, nah, it's like spinning your wheels? You would still do it.
No, I wouldn't. I would just say no.
If the client insisted?
I probably still wouldn't, Chris. I'd probably say go elsewhere if you want, that you can go and try it. But, if my hand on my heart, let's say someone wanted to rank for the word casino and they just weren't paying enough and they didn't have the budget and all that. Like, I would just say, dude, like, we can go after some fucking shitty terms or longer tail terms or whatever, but we can't go for that. Like, that's just not feasible. And if someone wants to take money leading you to believe that is feasible, then fair play. But I'm not going to be that guy. It doesn't matter what you insist, Chris. I'm just going to say, dude, I'm not doing it because we're going to have a fight at some point and you're going to come back to me going, you fucking didn't do what you said you were going to do. And obviously that can happen anyway with SEO. You don't always get the results that someone thinks or whatever for one reason or another. But I couldn't blindly just sit there and take, knowing full well that I was leading someone down the garden path, essentially.
Making that clear, I knew that would be part of the answer. I was curious where you would take them next or if you would take the job. If they insisted,
I mean, I think I am probably wrong in that respect. I think if someone insists and, you've got a service, sure, whatever. But yeah, it just doesn't sit well with me, man. I'm just the way I am personally. But I know that's not always they're
always let down.
The business is business. Money's money. And
I noticed that a lot too. They'll think that, well, what if I paid you X? Like some astronomical number? Like, nah, still no. The probability of you winning is very unlikely.
It's it's got to be realistic. Do you know what I mean? It always comes back to haunting you, Chris. My thing with SEO is if you allow someone to have any stretch of unrealistic expectation, it's going to result in a fight at some point. You know, you're always trying to rein someone in, always. Anyway, even if you do set their expectations, you're still reining them in.
It's always
to allow that's just going to be fucking chaotic. And then, you know, someone will be like, yeah, dude, I've paid you X, Y, and Z, and fucking why didn't you say at the start? So
100%.
yeah, it's
That's a fun. I was just curious what you thought.
but there's other ways you could say, dude, I can sell you links and I can sell you, 10 links a month for that budget or whatever. But, the onus is on you. You're going to have to go away and build all these topical clusters and fucking all that kind of stuff. But
that you don't want to take on the work. It's like, man, it's just going to cause commotion, stress, friction. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there is people here.
Third time. Hey, at least our Saul's here. Sup, mofos?
Our Saul is here. Any questions there, Saul? Or any questions from anyone? We were on a live. We got cut off. And we're back again to answer any questions you've got. It was typically going to be about technical SEO tips. And someone did ask about a migration from PHP over to React. And whether that would have a dip. But whilst we're waiting, if people are going to ask questions today, because I don't know if we'll balls this up completely with what's been on, but other technical issues, Chris, that you see even in 2025, again, I think I've asked you this a number of times, but when you're doing your consultancy calls or things like that, and people are like, Chris, have a look at this. This is for me anyway, Chris. I get a lot of people who've got some real basic shit going wrong, technical stuff with their website. You're just like, dude, your website's full of 404 errors. You can build as many links as you want, and you can have the best fucking content strategy in the world, but you need to make sure that is fixed. Otherwise, nothing's going to move. So do you see shit like that on a regular basis, or is it just me?
Well, of course you see that all the time. It just depends on how much there is. But on that note, because you brought that up, the 404s, say you've even submitted to clean up those files. The pages are gone, right? It's a 404, but Google takes so long, right? They take forever. Do you go to the outdated content in order to get it removed? Or what do you generally do? Because that's an issue. Even after cleaning up, it'll still sit, or it'll at least say in GSC an error. So what do you do?
It depends on the URL. Like if you want something taken out of Google's index quickly, you can 410 it, which gets it out quicker. But you're telling Google that URL is gone. If that has got link equity and stuff like that, then that's not the right answer. That there lies the problem after things like that. But a lot of people have come to me and they're like, Craig, I've got this, and someone got hacked actually last week, and part of the hack is it added a whole bunch of URLs that were never on the website, and those were all in Google's index. And even though it's been cleaned up, they're jammed in Google's index. But I'm like, in that instance, 410 them and they'll disappear, which will absolutely do it. But if you've got 404s and there's link equity kicking around, you can't just 410 it and throw it in the bin.
I used it in the issue or the example you gave, 410. But if you read Google's documentation, right, they say to leave it as 404 and let it clean out, unless it absolutely needs to be gone.
So I've had guys 9 months down the line come to me going, Craig, they're still jammed. It's jamming. It's stuck. And you're like, fucking hell, like, you have to do something.
But then the client goes and they're reading Google's saying this, but I'm like, no, you need to do this. They're like, oh, I hate that conflict.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and on that note too, just as a helpful hint, if somebody's listening, that the person with, you said they had a bunch of pages that were indexed, even though they did not exist.
Yeah.
Did you, what is it? It's 301 or 410, any page that's not inside the sitemap?
Yeah.
Is that what you did for the future? If a page is created and it's not in the sitemap, 410.
Yeah.
Right? You set that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Helpful hint.
So yeah, I mean that's the famous one that always happens when a website gets hacked. Or what was it? There's also a plugin called disable search in your website. What was happening is they were force indexing and putting in any old URL because you had the search functionality open on your website. So just the plugin disable search will help you as well to prevent that from happening. So yes, nasty stuff. But yeah, people have done them all to me, mate. They've done them all.
Of course. Gee, but we're such nice guys, though.
I know. Why would you do that?
Here's another fun scenario, though. See, I do get a lot of clients with the issues because they're using tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs, and I try to explain like that tool's job is to find all the deficits. Just because it shows up in a report doesn't necessarily mean that all 1,000 things need to be done.
No.
So I generally just lend on to GSC, figure out what's there. We'll take care of those. Anything else, if it's like past that scope of work, I'm sure there's a person for that, but I'm not him.
I'll tell you a fun story, Chris. I remember years ago, we were invited to go and pitch for a client job, and we'd done a SEMrush audit, and it was like 95 pages of fucking rubbish errors, right? Anyway, we went in, we printed this off, and the person that was with me spoke about the errors and all that stuff. So anyway, we won the gig, and then about 6 months later, they're like, "Can you come down for a meeting with our board?" Now everything was flying, the website was flying, everything was moving, everything was progressing well, and they they pulled out the fucking audit and went, "Guys, you showed me 6 months ago 96 pages of fucking errors. Why have they not been fixed?"
There's 93 left.
They're like, "Why have they not been fixed?" And we're like, "Oh man!" And we had to go through the whole rigmarole. Like, obviously, we used that as a way to get in,
right?
And then we were like, "Not all of it's really that important." So, yeah, it's. I mean, a lot of it was like fucking just bullshit on there.
Well, that's what it's doing. It's picking out every little thing. Yeah. I know. I dislike that. And technical is a bunch of time for things that you can't see or dollars in the door. Mm-hmm. So you have to charge for all these hours or time, but it doesn't directly impact winnings. Not directly. I hate that. It's harmful.
Anyway. Ursula has a question. Ooh. So can I iframe an affiliate disclaimer into content and then block Google from reading the iframe page using htaccess IP blocks blocking Google's IP range? Is that tech enough for you?
Does that sound like a good idea? Could you do it? Perhaps. But I mean, I would read the guidelines of the affiliate and then take it from there.
That's a fucking copy question. Come on, man.
So can you iframe an affiliate disclaimer into content and then block Google from reading the iframed page using htaccess, blocking Google's IP range? Are you 100%? Yeah, but could you, and why?
Yeah.
Why? What's the point? Do you see the reason why you would want to do that, Craig?
No, not off the top of my head. Affiliate disclaimer and then block Google from seeing it. I don't really know what the benefit of hiding that disclaimer. But I'm sure if
are you allowed to hide stuff from affiliates? Isn't there rules there? Even if it's a disclaimer, but any of their stuff, don't they give you particular things to generally use? Like what do they call it? Like a kit of some sort?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't be using their stuff though, unless it's something they give you. I think, depends on who you're doing it with.
Amazon were a bit funky back in the day with you had to use their buttons. I'm pretty sure you had to use their buttons. You couldn't use your own. I don't know. What was that with Amazon? Do you remember? No, there was something, I'm almost certain. I actually had to use like a plugin which basically pulled all the buttons and everything in for me anyway. But I'm pretty sure there was something there where you had to use their buttons. You weren't allowed to just make your own buttons up. Don't know why, but I might be wrong.
And then too, all those IPs, they have that big list of all the IPs, but who's to say that's all of them? Yeah, I don't like that. Just take away the disclaimer part. Like, nah, I'm good.
And David Quaid says that will get you penalised. So yeah, I wouldn't be fucking around with that. There's not enough benefit there for me to take that risk. So yeah, but Honey is saying after the March core update, is it okay to use AI content on a website? So after the update, is it okay?
Without any human intervention, generally, I mean, I wouldn't just copy and paste. So that's completely up to you, but not copy paste. It's an assistant, not a complete writer.
Yeah.
But I think AI content is still perfectly fine. I see quite a bit of it, but I know those geolocation pages you have to do a little bit more modification on. That I know. But other than that, how about you, Craig? What do you think?
I mean, I've said all along, like I've tested pure AI content out the box, and you get so far, and then it falls off a cliff. It eventually catches up with you. So I would always have a human intervention, or with AI agents and stuff that I've had built. It's doing things differently, and it's taking the AI patterns and everything away. So there's things you can do there to make things go faster, and that's it. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah.
There is human intervention though, without a doubt. Yeah, because you still have to set it up. So what you're training, you still have to train it. There you go, or ground it.
David Quaid says EEAT is not applied to run-of-the-mill websites ever. I could absolutely show you case studies of that actually happening. Lots of affiliate websites, in my opinion, were slammed because of that. No trust signals, nothing about people, no social media, all of that kind of stuff. So I could absolutely show you websites that fell straight off a cliff. But depends on your country, what you're doing and all that stuff. But I certainly seen a lot of Amazon affiliate websites die with that, but that's my opinion. But like I say, it's an opinion-based game. And if it still works for you, run-of-the-mill websites, then happy days. There are,
it doesn't even sound good. Run of the mill.
You've got like Mike and Brad, who we used to do, or I used to do these things with, and Brad would say, like, I'm just shitting out fucking Serp Shaker content, and it's working, and you're like, dude, it can't fucking work, like, surely not. And he's like, it is, dude, like, there you go, look at it, and I'm like, fuck me. So I'm not obviously disputing anything anyone says, because I've seen it. I've had people come back at me, go, nah, look at this, and you're like, valid point, absolutely valid point. But also on the flip side, I could show valid points where I believe. So yeah, it's a fucking weird one, man. But yeah.
Well, this David has a lot of questions.
Yeah, we'll come to them in a second.
Nice.
Your best friend for a local business, is it a good strategy to build blogs for a given service category and link back to the service page? Also, make those blog topics for a certain city. Will this help rankings?
Having supporting content to support the services that you provide is a great idea. I mean, there's informational content that you'll need to explain it. So why not capture those keywords too? I think it's excellent. Why not? Plus, you run out of things to do too, right? You have all your service pages. I have my service location. Okay, now what? Build links. So not only do we want something to do, but we also want to support the main idea. So there you are.
But David's saying you have to be careful of machine scaled AI content. That is exactly what my test was, using one of the kind of mass page ones, and we slammed it. I think it was about 1,200 pages, and we did get an upwards trajectory for about 5-6 months, and then boom, and we couldn't even recover it. We actually took all that content off to see if we could recover it. Dead. So yeah, but like I said, David, there are other people there who they don't even use AI content. You know, they're fucking using spun content, Search Shaker style, and absolutely crush it.
With Serp Shaker?
Dude, they still do.
Wow.
Dude, I can't believe it. I'm like, Brad, surely to fucking God.
On brand new sites.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's in very niche places where there's not a huge amount of competition. You know, would you get the same result doing it for personal injury lawyers in New York? I don't think you would.
In some neighborhood. Oh, yeah, I could see that flying. High density. Perhaps.
So that's where you get stuff like that going on. But social media doesn't equal EEAT. I think you will find that it plays a part of it, David, and all of the other kind of trust signals that go on around that. EEAT is about a number of different things that go on, not just social media. But when you look at an Amazon website and it doesn't have social media, it doesn't have a face on it, doesn't have anything on it to make it look like a real business. It's got nothing on third-party trusted websites, no Crunchbase, no LinkedIn, no nothing. Google doesn't trust it, and that is therefore what EEAT is. So obviously you can listen to what John Mueller tells you it is, or whatever, but believe me, social media is a trust signal, and if you don't have it, I'm not saying it's the be all and end all, absolutely not. You know, you've got everything else that we've spoken about when we've spoken about EAT. You know, you've got your Wikidatas, your Crunchbases, all these kind of entities that you need to be on. You've got to have your hub, about me page, and join all the dots and all that kind of stuff. So that's my opinion on it. But affiliates equals super attract attention. Affiliate changes the game. It's only time thin content becomes a penalty. Run of the mill equals plumber website, wealth management, SaaS product, cooking recipes. This is great. Be right back. I have a call.
Okay,
But
David. Just bang, 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 question. That's awesome. Okay.
Did you try and verify a citation of yours on a gov or edu website on Google Maps where you also have an email address from that gov or edu domain? So use the email to verify the directory listing. So
you generally don't have to verify directories. You don't need to double verify. That's citation sources. Usually directories will let you post. Some of them want verification, but not generally, not usually. I'm not sure what he's getting at here.
Yeah. Nah.
And then citations and directories on .edus or govs. What, you put a name, address, phone number on a .gov or a .edu in a comment section or somewhere within the site. What? I doubt you would have to verify that, you know, unless you're signing up for the account.
Yeah.
Can you think of any other way? Like what this means? No. Okay.
Oh, it means verifying it on Google Maps, not the listing itself.
He wants to verify a .edu or a .gov directory or a posting on Maps. I'm not sure. I don't know. The iframe question and now this one? Saul.
Yeah.
I mean, verified on Gmaps, not the listing. I have no idea what he means by this. A .edu or a .gov?
Have you verified a map listing using a .gov or edu domain name?
Me?
Yeah.
Not me, no.
Anyone you know? Any friends?
Not that I could think of, no. Why?
Just asking. Some of your friends do a lot of bad stuff.
No, not me. I don't work at a government agency or school, unfortunately.
Anyway, hi from Nottingham.
But there is, what's interesting though. There are students that go to these schools though that have set up these accounts. When you get a school account, you know how you can get aliases?
Yeah.
It is quite interesting. Google Workspace, but regular Workspace. Well, they also have, when you go to a school, let's just say hypothetically like a university, they also assign you emails. Depending upon the school, oftentimes you can create aliases within those accounts. I would assume that would lend some type of credibility, but I don't know.
Anyway, Rudy, good to see you from Nottingham. Rudy says AI content works well with its own RAG that includes proprietary vectorized data for enhancements. So AI agent stuff, absolutely. Rudy,
Does RAG stand for something in particular? An own RAG? What does that stand for?
I don't know the actual official thing of it is, but in an AI agent, you're going to build a RAG database, so I can put in like all of my tweets, all of my blog posts, all of my YouTube transcripts or whatever it may be, and it will refer to that for the factual information rather than just taking it from the internet. So
Okay.
The factual information is coming from what I've said previously rather than pulled out of ChatGPT's ass. Because that, obviously when you ask ChatGPT, it will pull it from whatever sources. You can tell it to pull it from your own database. And that's the official name here.
Wow. I thought you just uploaded the JSON files, create everything into JSON, and then feed it in that way. But I didn't know there was a RAG database. Got it.
Retrieval augmented generation. Yeah.
Sweet.
And Eric, Rudy, and Business Growth Ready have thrown that one in there. So, yeah, RAG is all I'm going to call it. I've never even Googled the official name for it. I'm just like, okay.
Sounds fair.
But yeah, it's not me who builds my AI agent, but they talk about the RAG database a lot. So yeah, it's an important part of the mix, and it works very well, man. It works very well.
Have you been putting out content utilizing your database other than on social media?
Yeah.
Any recent posts you could point to?
No.
Fair enough.
It's spitting out newsletters and stuff for me. So I haven't done any blog posts as such with it. I don't know if I want to do any more blog posts, in all honesty. I mean, what am I getting out of it? Putting out more blog posts. I mean, I'm sure I could shit them out if I wanted to or whatever. But certainly from a social media perspective, I have and newsletter and stuff like that. Now, what you can also do, Chris, as well, my RAG database knows me, is trained on me. Now, obviously, in terms of the output, it can even spit out content with my tone, the vocabulary that I use. Now, what you can do is you can scrape 10 other people's newsletters, come up with all the kind of fucking stuff that they're saying that's really good, and get it to spit it out in your voice. So,
like grounding.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's just so many different ways that you don't even have to write your own shit. You can regurgitate someone else's shit in your own
verbiage.
Yeah.
Fun.
So, we're all talking about the same shit anyway, whether you like it or not.
Your own perspective.
Yeah. So it's just how you spit that out. But you can do it in a blog format, but no.
Well, you don't see any future success for organic web traffic in your current space?
I do. I just don't do it.
Not right this second, Chris.
Yeah. It's obviously I've been busy for the last few months with traveling, and doing events and all that kind of stuff. But I also do believe that, obviously people used to blog in their own website and put content out in their own website. I actually do believe that you're probably going to be more beneficial putting it out on other people's websites for AI and everything else. That's not to say you can't be a good resource. I think you're going to probably have to mix it up between both. But when my AI agent's writing, it's not writing for my blog at the moment. It's for other people's stuff. So it's solid, man. It's solid. So yeah, but I will get back to it. But it's just time, Chris. I'm time poor, and sadly, my own little blog gets left to the side. As I'm sure yours does as well. If I was to go and look at it, you'd be like,
I can't even think of the last time I created a blog post for myself.
So there we have it.
Now I'm sure I've written a lot about plumbers and roofers and anything else but SEO.
Yeah, content for everyone else bar yourself. It's this famous old way. But Ursol saying, do 3-way link exchange schemes work in 2025?
Acquiring links from high authority websites that are relatively the same as mine is still a great idea in 2025. Now, if that's the primary thing that I'm doing, and that's the only thing, and it's pretty easy to see that that's all I'm doing, that could potentially lead into trouble. But usually Google doesn't find something unless somebody points it out, is what I've noticed. Because I have sites that I've gone completely mad on, never had any issues, ever. And I know lots of business owners that are the same way. Unless you step on somebody, or unless you show it somewhere, or unless there's eyeballs on it and somebody points it to Google, usually there's not going to be trouble. So could you get away with it a few times? Definitely. Why not? It's just links.
But just mix it all up.
Yeah, how many of those would you want to do though? One time?
No, again, you just don't want to leave a pattern there. People pointing to me without me pointing anywhere else or pointing back is the best way to do it.
Well, but 3-way.
So I point to you, and you point to Ursol, and then he points back to me. It's quite easy to see that triangle pattern if you're doing that on a scalable level. So I think that's why I'm not saying don't do it. If the opportunity's there and we can all help each other, fine. But I don't want that to be my only link building strategy. So
and there's so many links. There's so many opportunities.
I want more people to point to me and me not pointing to anyone if you can help it.
Even better.
Yeah. But Mark McShane, any benefits to using Oh God, I can't even believe I fucking was going to say that. Yeah, heterotechnical crawl prompting. He's just literally pulled that out of his ass. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good one, Mark. that was quite creative. I seen it popping in, but obviously I was more focused on the other questions first. And
Heterotechnical.
That
Sounds fun.
I'm not quite going to write it down. There's a couple of lines, like I said to you before, Chris. There's a couple that I've written down that will be used, and I've stolen from some people. That's not going to be one of them. That is not one of them.
Are you sure?
Nah.
No. Okay. Just making sure.
Content, new color. So Rudy's just confirming what RAG gives you. Business growth ready is saying a regurgitated shit on a paper rag is toilet paper.
Thank you, business growth.
Do you use Google Alerts in finding link placements? Absolutely. When you do digital PR and you're reaching out to the journalists saying, here's an amazing story, blah, 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 and you lay it all on a plate for them, 9 times out of 10, they do not fucking reply to you saying, thank you so much, we've used your article, or a quote from your article or whatever. They just fucking stick it online. I don't say anything. So if we didn't use Google Alerts, we wouldn't know how many links we'd actually got when we're doing digital PR. So that is an important part. When it comes to that, obviously you can twist it in whatever other way suits you as well. But, we have to find what links have been placed for us from a digital PR perspective. But obviously, you can twist Google Alerts into whatever you like.
Are you primarily acquiring featured posts or inserted like it's already a story and maybe you have a expert opinion?
I mean, we try to get featured posts.
Tough.
But a lot of the time they'll just take an expert quote, a lot easier than they would, a full story, because the story's got to be trending, it's got to be good, it's got to suit them and all this stuff. So, the chances of success on that are a lot less than, there's a story there and, there's been a big storm and, fucking such and such from whatever roofing company says, fucking we're backlogged for 6 months or whatever with all these fucking quotes or whatever, some bullshit like that. Absolutely. You can go and get your links thrown in quite easily to things like that are trending, hot, hotly relevant stories. So, they can't just write story after story after story about roofing and storms, so that's the opportunity there, because the way I see it is there's digital PR and then there's PR. PR is all about getting the feature stories and coming up with the crazy angles and, getting your face plastered all over the press for exposure. We're doing digital PR for links. I don't care whether it's a quote or whether it's a featured story or whatever. It's done as a link building exercise. So I don't really care which lands, if that makes sense.
That's right.
I just want the link. But I would always say that the featured quotes is the one that gets picked up a hell of a lot more than the article itself.
Generally on those larger sites, when you're getting expert quotes, the alerts are cool. But oftentimes those big sites get picked up or syndicated. I'm not talking about PR, but actual relatively large sites. Let's just say Martha Stewart or any site like that. It'll get syndicated. Is there another tool that picks up everything? Have you ever seen? Is there anything better that you know of?
Nah.
Okay.
We just use Google Alerts.
Did you set it up?
There must be another tool that does it though, right? There has to be a tool.
That's why I'm asking. Is there something better?
I think that's a question you would need to ask Randy and stuff. There's what the fuck is the name of that tool some of the big PR companies use? and it pulls all of the PR pickups into one big thing. Like it's a big document. I don't know if it's
Well, yeah, the tools that you're posting with, or at least that we post with, they have like their own built-in stuff. But I was just wondering if there's like, the Dundada, the big dog, is there something really good that picks up everything? Because sometimes stuff will get syndicated and it'll be in like a feed, or it'll be in JavaScript, or not everything shows. I know. So I'm just curious.
Ursol saying Ahrefs have got a mentions tool. Could be worth looking at. Not tried that personally. I do have Ahrefs, but I didn't even know it had a mentions tool, in all honesty.
And custom AP, Google custom search, I saw that too. It works very well.
But anyway, we got there in the end. But we are out of time, guys. So thank you.
It was like a little slow, weird start, right? Kind of an odd day.
It was a fucked up start, but we got there in the end.
Right.
But do check out the news guy. The link is below, or his picture is above. Either way, check him out, and also do check out Chris Palmer SEO. Just search for him. Have you moved over to the Grey Hat SEO yet?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yes, but no.
Well,
kind of like just like we talked about before, switching the names. It's like Evan Dragon. Like, is that really the best idea?
I think long term it is. It's just,
I know.
Yeah. But check Chris Palmer SEO out. Find them somewhere. Social media, YouTube, and chrispalmer.org if you're interested in services or consultancy or whatever else you may find Chris useful for. Get in touch, and we will see you at the same time next week.
See you next week.